What's up, guys? Welcome to a new segment on the channel called Nate Rambles. I don't know. I've actually done these before, but I want to do more of them because honestly, it's probably about my most fun thing to make is literally just me rambling about a topic with no editing or anything. And I feel like I have a lot of fun topics to talk about. So today, to set the stage, some of these are going to be kind of oddly specific. This is what I wanted to do like months ago, and I just never got around to. I'm going to be talking about the party sprites in Gen 2. And, I guess this came to my attention because last year I was playing Crystal with the intention of completing the Pokedex. I need to get back to that. I was level grinding a Pupitar, and then I just kind of stopped, and then I haven't played since. But, I'll get back to it eventually. But let's look at these party sprites though, because I think they're actually really interesting. So obviously back on the Game Boy, they had limited amount of memory and a limited amount of stuff they could do, and as a result, instead of every Pokemon having a unique party sprite like they would get in starting in Ruby and Sapphire, they had these kind of general ones for like groups of Pokemon. And I say that, but as we go down, you're going to see that that's not always the case. But let's start with these top ones. I feel like these top ones are pretty normal. We got Feline. So this is mostly like Pokemon that stand on 4 legs. And I kind of want to just go through and kind of see if all the Pokemon make sense to be in this category. I think a lot of these make sense. Like, this one's pretty boring. I'd say the big outlier here is Sneasel. Not really sure why Sneasel's in here instead of here. That's kind of an odd choice. Most of the other ones make sense, though. Typhlosion also is kind of weird. I think it should be down here. Typhlosion, like, it runs on all 4s, but otherwise it's, like, always standing on 2 legs. So I kind of feel like it should be down here as well. Biped. Again, pretty normal. These early ones aren't going to have as much to talk about, but some of these later ones are weird. Bird. I mean, yeah. Bird. Not a whole lot to say about Bird either. I mean, Togetic. Not really a bird, but whatever. It makes enough sense, It's got wings. Plant. This one's great. Oh yeah, I should mention... So, like, this one it's a Hoodoo icon, which is funny, because when you're using any other Pokemon besides Hoodoo, they just look like a Hoodoo in your party. And then we got Plant, which is represented by Oddish. So I think it's a pretty good representation. When I think Bird, I would probably think Pidgey first, but I guess because it's a Gen 2 game, they're like, oh, we want to do Hoodoo. For Plant... I mean, that's a whole lot of plants. This one, though, definitely doesn't match the way a lot of them look as much. Like, I don't know, Meganium doesn't remotely look like Oddish to me, so it's kind of goofy, but whatever. Insect. This one sure got a lot of bugs. I mean, Fortress and Pineco, I think, are a little weird. Like, obviously, they're bug type. Same with Shuckle, but they don't really look like bugs as much, especially Fortress and Pineco. They're like, what, a chestnut and a pinecone? I kind of feel like they would fit more with maybe the shell or ball one down here. I don't think Insect matches very well. Mime, it's funny. They got a whole category called Mime just for Mr. Mime. That's crazy. Yeah, it's where a lot of the Psychic type Pokemon are. It's kind of interesting that they decided that this should be its own category, because I feel like almost all of these Pokemon could just be shoved in the Biped category and no one would have noticed. So it's interesting they took a whole slot in memory for just Mime. Yeah, it's a little weird. Quadruped. Yeah, okay, so we have Feline and Quadruped. I guess those are 2 different categories. It's interesting, like, what's the distinction here? Because, like, again, why Sneasel? Whatever. Anyway, Quadruped, for the most part, they make sense. Swinub, I know he is a quadruped, like he's got 4 legs, but just because you never see them, he looks more like an orb to me. But whatever. Fish is actually kind of small considering how many water types there are, but I guess they wanted to break up the water types. But also some of these aren't fish, like Zedra and Horsey. Well, they are, but they're not like fish-shaped, is what I mean. Sorry, let me rephrase. Also, I mean, I don't know where else you'd put them, though, so it's fine. But Wooper and Quagsire, I feel like, again, they kind of would go in this biped category more than the fish category. Machoke gets its own group, and it's basically just all the fighting-type Pokemon that stand on 2 legs. So that's pretty basic. Shell gets its own category. And for some reason, Krabby and Kingler are here. And so is... Corsola. Why couldn't I remember Corsola's name? But again, these are ones that don't really fit in any other category, so I kind of get it. Fairy. It's funny because most of these Pokemon actually are Fairy type now, except for Chansey and Blissey. So, you know, they're ahead on that one. It's actually, come to think of it, where Snubbull and Granbull are in biped, I kind of feel like they would fit. They kind of look like the icon even. Serpent. This one's pretty straightforward. These are all Serpentine-esque Pokemon, so that makes sense. Slime Pokemon? Coughing and Wheezing don't really make sense. The other ones all do. I feel like these two should have been in Ball. And Ball's also weird because we got like Porygon and Porygon 2. But other spherical Pokemon aren't in here. Again, though, I don't know where you would put these guys. They're kind of weird. Ghost. This one has Wobbuffet for some reason. I don't know why Wobbuffet is in the Ghost category. But, hey, he's there. Bat. Bat gets its own category, and it's just Zubat and then Gligar. Which, sure. And when I said that these are going to get more interesting as we go down, it's because they're about to get really hyper-specific, and I'm curious to know why some Pokemon got to have their own categories. We have Caterpillar, which is for just these 4 Pokemon, which to me is weird because they could have just stuck them with the insect category and just called it a day, but they're like, no, these 4 have to have their own icon. Or these could have gone in like the serpent category even. I mean, yeah, they're not serpents, but they're kind of shaped that way. I just feel like if you're limited by like space, why do these 4 get to have an icon dedicated to them? I wonder what the decision was there. Again, Poliwag, the whole Poliwag family gets its own exclusive Poliwag icon. Like, why them? Why did they get to be so special? They got their own icon. Squid's kind of interesting because, like, Chinchou, which I guess it kind of looks like the icon, and then Octillery is here for some reason. Sure. I mean, it has tentacles, I get that. But, yeah, you know what? This actually does make sense. I don't know, at first glance I was like, Octillery... I just associate Octillery with being a cannon more than I associate it with being an octopus. Is that weird? I was like, yeah, octopus, no, it's a cannon. Cannons aren't squid. You know what? I'm just gonna shut up. I'm not making any sense. Okay, so Bulbasaur gets its own icon, and then I think Squirtle and Charmander get their own icon. But get this. Charizard goes in the dragon category, which is a Charizard icon all to itself, because of course it does, because Charizard gets all the love. But then they put Dragonite with it too, which makes sense because like their body shape is really similar. But it's kind of funny that it's like, no, Charizard gets to be over here in its own separate icon, but also it's not actually an own separate icon because Dragonite is also here. And it's funny they did this to the Gen 1 starters, but not the Gen 2 starters. Like, you know, your new Pokemon that you'd want to show off in a new gen. They stuck those in these generic ones. But the Gen 1 Pokemon that you can only obtain in this game by trading with the originals get their own exclusive icon. I feel like most players who play through this game casually didn't trade with the old games, and so never saw these icons. Geodude gets its own icon. Again, really random. Like, you could have just stuck this with the ball gang, but nope, he gets its own icon. Jigglypuff, own icon. I guess Jigglypuff makes a little more sense to me because it is really iconic. So sure, and there is that Jigglypuff and Kanto, like, in the Pokemon Center or whatever, and, like, Pewter, that's, like, kind of iconic, so maybe they wanted it to, like, be in the overworld for that. Lapras makes sense because it's already the surf icon, so you can just reuse it. This is some good use of, good ways to save memory. You know, you already got this sprite for surfing, might as well double as a party sprite. And then we threw in Seal and Dugong, which, yeah, I mean, they match, so this is fine. Pikachu getting its own icon. This one actually makes sense. This is the mascot of the whole series, so if any one Pokemon is going to get their own icon, it should be Pikachu. Slowpoke is interesting because the only reason it has its own icon is because they wanted it for that whole story arc where Team Rocket is cutting off their tails. But it's funny because the icon doesn't have a tail as a result. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they were like, well, we want the whole town to be filled with actual Slowpokes. And then again, if you're making the icon for the overworld, you might as well use it for the party sprite as well. This one, though, is one of the most random ones to me. Why does Diglett and Dugtrio get an exclusive Diglett icon? This is a Pokemon that you can only catch in the post-game. And it's not even like a super popular Pokemon or like a really strong one. Obviously, Dugtrio would become insane once it got Arena Trap, but that hasn't happened yet. What's going on here? Why does Diglett get its own icon? Were they like, man, we can't find a single other place to put it? Like, Diglett and Dugtrio are a unique shaped Pokemon, but I mean, some of these other, like, placements are a stretch. Couldn't you have just thrown these guys in the ball category too? I'm learning that if I were making this game, I would have just thrown everything into the ball category. Then we got Gyarados, which again, overworld sprite for the red Gyarados, and then sure, I guess we're throwing Kingdra in. Looks kind of goofy to have a Gyarados icon in your party, but it's actually a different Pokemon, but we're kind of past that at this point. Moth gets its own icon. This one's kind of interesting. I really like this icon, but yeah, it's only used for Butterfree and Venomoth, so I don't know why they didn't just put these guys in the insect icon instead of making this whole new icon for them. Staryu! Another weird one. Staryu and Starmie get their own icon. Why? I love Staryu and Starmie, so, you know, I'm cool with it. But it just seems so random. It's just like Diglett. It's like, why? You know what? If you guys can figure out why, leave it in the comments. Is it because they really didn't see them matching any of these other icons? But I feel like, again, they could have just thrown this in with some of these other ones. Like, if Krabby gets to be in the shell category, why can't, like, Staryu be in, like, I don't know, the ball category again? Heck, throw it in with the Poliwag icon. It would be funny. Ho-Oh and Lugia, I mean, yeah, of course they're going to get their own icon. That makes sense. Snorlax, again, it's on the overworld, so just shrink the overworld sprite down and make it a party sprite. Same with Sudowoodo. Might as well just reuse it. And Unknown, I mean, Unknown, it was kind of like this cool new thing that they really pushed. Like, there is an alpha really early in the game to encourage you to, like, keep coming back to it. And in Crystal especially, they kind of emphasized it more, so, that, you know, that makes enough sense. But yeah, those are the Gen 2 icons. And, yeah, I think the main reason I want to make this video was for, like, Diglett and Staryu and, like, Geodude, I guess. I just don't know why some of these Pokemon got a whole icon dedicated to them in the party. But other ones didn't. I just think that's kind of weird. Do you think it's weird? Do you think I'm stupid? Let me know in the comments section below. And remember to like and subscribe.